The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.
How? What's up, guys? Well, this is a surprise. I wasn't going to do a video today, but I said, you know what? Let me come on here. Let me give you guys a little entertainment. And as you see, what I have up there is talking about two brothers that were murdered in 2002. When I came home in 98, I met these two brothers. They were from Ave U. They were two wild kids. They were friends of my younger cousins. And I ended up getting pinched in October of 99. And as I'm in jail, I heard they got murdered sometime in April 2000. So these two brothers, they were pretty wild. Their names were Anthony and Charles. I don't know too much about their case. I know they're unsolved murders, and they were wild kids from Ave U. They lived on Ave U on West 10th Street. And they were mixed up with some street life. They were very disrespectful. They were two young kids, 19 years old, but they disrespected wise guys and things like that. So, I have this article. I'm going to read it to you guys. But before I read it, I want to give you a couple shout outs. Thank you for coming on. We got 74 people in the chat. I appreciate you people coming on. And I want to thank a lot of people who actually subscribe to my channel and my Patreon channel. To all you people who subscribe to my channel, I want to thank you all and for the support and the love you guys give me. And like I said, I'm always here for all you guys. Anything I could do for you, if I could, advertise your business, that's what I'm here for. This is what this platform is here for, to help all you people out there, And but there's a few people I want to give a shout out to, okay? And it's to Thomas Mazzoni, Legs Cole, Paul Wickman, Richard O'Toole, Eric Dixon, Jose Agrari, Philip Ward, Rosie, Anthony Santoro, USA #1, The Smiths, Vernon Tupin, Pretty Boy Floyd, Chris Russo, Peter Roberts, James Kelly, James Hassett, The Sons of Italy, George Abrensky, Andrew S., Steve M., Vince Morano, Janine Erickson, Brad R., you're the best, Kevin Buchanan, Jimmy G, 415, Mike Susk, Ayanna Taylor, Pertor G. Jordan, William Hughes, James Proctor, Derek Cox, Christina Cunningham, Viva Amalfitano, Repo Cat, Jimmy Griffin, Nash Hill, Multimedia Chips, Jim Fuller, Matt Hills, J Dogs, Jonathan Forelli, Ray the Road Dog, Mr. Mike, Charlie Ray, Ryan Smith, Joey D, and Pazzo. All of you people have subscribed to my Patreon channel. I never give a shout out to the people from my Patreon channel. Thank you so much for subscribing to my Patreon channel. It means a lot to me. And to all you people who subscribe to my channel, to you too. Jennifer Ledette, I see you. Wes Carlson TV, how are you? How's everything? Justin Calderon, Bird Loco, Anthony Fernandez, Live and Let Live, Boston J. I'm not sure if you're in the room, but if you are, Gunsmoke. And to all you people out there, there he is, Boston J. Okay. John Volpetti. What's up, John? How's everything? John Volpetti's in the room. John Volpetti is somebody I grew up with back in the day. Very surprised to see you. It's nice to see you. I heard about your sister. Sorry about your little sister. Radek Molina. So to all you people showing up today, thank you so much. We have 102 in the chat. Hopefully it grows. And I wanted to tell this story because I actually wanted my brother on here to help me tell this story. Because my brother John actually knew these kids a lot better than I did. I didn't know these kids like that. Brad, how are you? Well, thank you, Jimmy. We believe in you, brother. Thank you, and I believe in you. You're welcome, John Petty. And yeah, I wanted to tell this story about these two young kids, 19 years old, just to give you an idea of how my neighborhood and Gravesend, Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, how it's run. Now, the mob is very strong in Brooklyn. Okay, you have the five families over there. When I was a kid growing up, they were very powerful. They're not as powerful as they were back then, but they still have a stronghold of the neighborhood. And a lot of neighborhood kids growing up, they do want to become gangsters, whether you guys want to believe it or not. Don Berlin, how are you? How's everything, Don? God bless you too. God bless you all. John C., shout out to you. Pat Travellino, hey Jimmy, nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Crystal Ward, hi. Terry Kuhnman, how are you? Jimmy, tell us a story. You guys are the best. I tell you, I love you guys. But yeah, I wanted to tell this story about these two young kids. They were 19 years old. You know what? They grew up in the neighborhood, and they were twin brothers. They were found shot to death. Their bodies dumped on a Brooklyn street. Okay, this is 2000. Now, I got picked up in 1999 in October. And when I was in jail, I heard these kids got killed. And I met them for a short time. I was introduced to them, Anthony and Charlie. They were wild kids, and they had a reputation, and in the neighborhood, you looked up to people where you wanted to make a name for yourself and have a reputation. That's what these two young kids did. And you know what? They didn't know anything about the street, how the street works, and how people could set you up. And when you're a part of the mob or a group of friends, and they call you in, you don't know what to expect. You could just be going for a ride with somebody, and your so-called friend could kill you. That's the way the street works. And a lot of people, they are very naive and gullible about the street. They can say, these wise guys protect the neighborhood. In all honesty, listen, that's all a bunch of bullshit. Okay. You know what? It's all about, making money, respect. And, these wise guys, what they do is they need these young kids. Okay. They need these young kids to roam the street, to shake down stores, to sell drugs, and come back to them and give them money. And this is how, the mob is run. So let me, Ray Road Dog. What's up, Ray? How's everything? This is Jimmy's Friday night special. Not a Saturday night special, but a Friday night special. Don Berlin. Let me just read a couple comments over here, okay, guys? Had anyone ever heard of or purchased calandra bread from New York? If so, where do you buy it? You got to go to North Jersey for that, Don. Yeah, the calandra bakeries are in North Jersey, but it's very good bread. I'm not related to them, but they are very good. They're good, very good people too. Thanks for the shout out, Jimmy. Justin Calderon. Ray the Road Dog. Thank you. May God's face shine upon you and yours as well, Boston J. Jimmy, do you remember Mikey's friends, Tommy, Frankie, and No? Of course I do. Absolutely. That's Mikey Scott's friends. Yes, of course. I remember No. I remember Frankie. I remember Tommy. Those were his friends at one time. And I remember Big Steve. He had a few of them. The guy Black. He had Billy. There was a lot of them. But so yeah, let me get to this story about these kids, okay? Because these kids were very naive, and it just goes to show, in the neighborhood, when you're growing up in the neighborhood, you need some direction. And I'm sure these kids, they grew up with their father and mother. They were Italian kids, And I think their father was Italian from the homeland, and he spoke broken English. They had two pretty sisters, and it's just a shame because at the age of 19 years old, their lives were cut short. And this is just another story of a Brooklyn double homicide, where someone killed these two kids. It's an unsolved murder. Now, I know it had nothing to do with the Bath Avenue crew. I know the Bay Parkway kids had nothing to do with it because there's a lot of Bay Parkway kids that came forward. And if they had anything to do with it, it would have came to surface and they would have admitted to their guilt. So I know they had nothing to do with it too. So, whoever had something to do with it, they didn't like these kids. These kids did something wrong. These kids had a bad reputation. And, a lot of kids in the neighborhood say they had it coming, and a lot of people say it's a shame because they were only 19 years old. And who cries at the end? The family cries. So I see Live and Let Live. John Volpe, so sorry about your sister. The Rizzutos were all family in Toro. John C., go Mets, go Jimmy. Thank you, go Yankees. Did Big Stevie own a deli by JFK? I'm not sure, but Big Stevie was a big guy. So let me get to this article that I wanted to read, okay? Because you know what? I wanted to bring this case up. It's a case that, in all honesty, these two brothers were wild kids. And, I heard they took a ride down to Florida. I heard they committed a murder in Florida of, let me just read the article. 19-year-old twin brothers were found shot in the head early yesterday. Now, this is April 2nd, 2000. Their bodies dumped into the middle of a residential street in Gravesend section of Brooklyn. Now, when they killed these two brothers, they killed them the same day, the same night, 4 o'clock in the morning. They shot them both in the head, and they dumped their bodies in the middle of the street. And whoever killed them, when they killed them, what happened was one brother watched the other brother get murdered. So it just think about that. Watching your brother getting murdered. I mean, that's some fucking crazy shit. I mean, if you think about it, some scary stuff too for two 19-year-old kids. I mean, these kids didn't even live their life yet, So, I think about that now as a 52-year-old man. And I say, you know what a shame, what a waste of life. I lost a lot of friends in my time. And growing up in Brooklyn, I did a lot of wild things. And thank God I made the right decision. I'm in a better place today. And I know right from wrong. And I put myself around a lot of good people. And that's what you kids and you people have to do the same. So Anthony and Charles DiGirolamo, who would have turned 20 in a week later, were found in front of 1794 West 5th Street by a passerby about 4:25 a.m., said Sergeant Ellis Nekus, a police spokesman. Their bodies apparently had been dumped from a car in the middle of the one-way street near the corner of West 5th and Quentin Road. The twins lived on East 2nd Street in Brooklyn. Each of the two men, who the police said were identical twins, these kids were identical. One was crazier than the other, but these kids didn't listen. They had a reputation for not listening to wise guys, abusing some kids on the street. They weren't well liked. They were liked by some of their friends, but they were very feared, and it was time for them to go because that's how the neighborhood is run. The underworld neighborhood is run by the mobsters. Each of the two men who police said were identical twins had been shot once in the temple. So they hit him once in the temple, the authorities said. The police said they had no suspects. So no one was picked up for this case. This is an open double homicide till today. And there's so many stories about the Russians involved in it. It might have been the Italians. Then they mentioned a few other names from the neighborhood. But in the neighborhood, see, when I was growing up, I always wanted to know who the shooters were and who the shooters weren't. And that's one thing you always had to know. I mean, who was the ones who pulled the trigger and who were just acting. And there's a lot of actors out there. And there's a couple people, a handful of people that are serious guys out there that they'll kill you in a minute. Law enforcement officials said Charles DiGirolamo was free on bail in a connection with an assault case in Brooklyn stemming from a stabbing in a Sheepshead Bay nightclub, but they could not provide no details. Like I said, I heard about these kids. Two federal law enforcement officials said that when the brothers were in their early teens, in the mid 1990s, they had been involved with a group of drug dealers who worked for James Gallione, an organized crime figure who was associated first with the Bonanno crime family and later the Lucchese group. Mr. Gallione, who is known as Froggy or Frog Eyes, according to authorities, pleaded guilty in 1997 to murder and drug charges. The two brothers were not charged in connection with that case, the authorities said. So they were friendly with James Gallione. Jimmy Gallione was a wise guy with the Lucchese family. Now, obviously, when they got killed, I think Jimmy Gallione was picked up or something. I'm not sure. But, this is a case where, when I was on the street till today, there's so many names that get attached to this double homicide. And the names that get attached to it that I heard of have nothing to do with murders. Okay. Some of these guys in the street, they walk around like they're murderers and they're gangsters. But I know a lot of these names and I know what they're about. Some of them are just drug dealers. Some of them are earners. A couple of them own pizzerias. But the Hatters, the Mad Hatters, their names aren't mentioned. So I know that these guys that names are mentioned, I know they had nothing to do with this. Charles DiGirolamo also was a suspect in the August 1999 killing of Peter Lanza. So these two brothers, they were suspects in a couple murders. A Brooklyn man who was found shot in his apartment in Gravesend, his hands bound and his head covered by a pillowcase. A senior investigator said Mr. Lanza, who had a criminal record for drugs and fireworks possession dating to 1992, was on probation at the time of his killing and was wearing an electric monitoring device. He was out on bail. So he was under house arrest, out on bail, and one of the brothers was a suspect in his murder. So you know that these kids were, deep into the street just for being a suspect. So their names were going around. If someone got killed, their names were going around. So you know they were a part of a group of other kids in the street that were wild. The two brothers have been also identified as material witnesses. So they were also material witnesses. Now that's another thing that they had to worry about. Material witnesses. So whoever they were material witnesses of, those people might have got rid of them. In the 1998 killing of a young woman in a sandwich shop in Pinellas County in Florida, the authorities said. The two brothers, along with three other men from Brooklyn, had driven to Florida in April of that year, and investigators said. One of the other men, Robert A. Pasquins. Now, Robert A. Pasquins, I had a small dispute with him. I think me and my brother, and at the time I was in jail, and I called Fabrizio and I said, Fabrizio, do me a favor, go see this kid Pasquins. And once Fabrizio showed up with, I think Reynolds or somebody, this kid didn't want no problems at all, But, back in the day, a lot of kids in Brooklyn ran around thinking who they were until, the more crazier guy showed up. One of the other men, Robert A. Pasquins, walked into a Subway sandwich shop in Pinellas County jumped over the counter and demanded money from Anne Marie Sherman, a 24-year-old single mother who was working her first night as an assistant manager, the investigators said. So these kids were really bad kids, you know, who was working her first night as an assistant manager, the investigators said. He forced her and another employee to lie on the floor. He threatened to kill Mrs. Sherman, and she begged him not to, but he did. So obviously, the kid is a scumbag. He threatened to kill Mrs. Sherman, and she begged him not to, but he did, the investigators said. So I'm sure there's, there was 5 people over here, the 2 brothers and 3 other guys at the scene. So obviously someone probably came forward and told them this story about this. Mr. Pasquins took $277 from the cash register and fled. He was later convicted of first-degree murder, the investigators said. It was unclear whether Florida investigators ever had an opportunity to question the brothers in connection with the killing. The police found the bodies yesterday after a passerby called 911 and said there were 2 men bleeding from the head in the street. Sergeant Nickus said one of the brothers was pronounced dead on the street, while the other was taken to Kings County Hospital where he died. So one brother saw the other brother get murdered, so that's some scary stuff. But yeah, these 2 brothers, I heard a lot of stories about them. I just wanted to talk about them. And just to remind people out there, even people in the neighborhood, I know the old neighborhood is nothing compared to what it used to be, but I could put myself out there and think about these 2 young brothers, 19 years old. John Polio was murdered at the age of 19. Now, talking about John Polio was nothing compared to these 2 brothers. John Polio was actually a good kid. And I talk about this stuff because, you know what? I have PTSD from this stuff. This stuff actually bothers me. And I could go back to 1988, April 4th, when John Polio was murdered. And I remember this time. I woke up one morning, I got a phone call from one of my friends, and they told me John Polio was murdered. Now, when he was murdered, we looked into, who would do something like this. And a lot of names came to our head. And it's like so surreal. I mean, one of your friends was just murdered. And it's like, after a while, you accept it. And that's the sick part about it, But I'm just looking at the chats quick, see what's going on over here. You're absolutely right, Tato. John Polio didn't have a bad bone in his body. You're absolutely right. And, talking about him, it brings back a lot of memories. I could go back and I could tell you stories now. Because at this time, I remember John Polio selling pot with him, getting pot off of Georgie Conti, coming back, bagging it up, going to Bay 17 corner, Bay 19 corner, and having a pot spot. And you know what? Those were the cool things to do. It was easy money, hanging out in the corner. You hung out with your friends. People came, they bought weed off you. And, growing up in the 80s was fun. And eventually serious times, because, once you see some of your friends getting killed, it really bothers you inside where, you want these people, like, come get me. I mean, you think, you're somebody, come get me. And that's the attitude we had, growing up. And it's a sad thing. JB Well, thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Back in your days, is there anyone a street guy might fear more than another made guy? Any groups like the Cubans or Mexicans they might have feared? Well, you know what? Back in my day, the Italians were strong. Until this day, the Italians are still strong because, the Italian mob is organized. You start with a boss, you have an underboss, a consigliere, captains, wise guys, and associates. The associates have to be around wise guys or captains. And if you're friendly with the boss, then eventually he'll put you up, he'll propose you, he'll straighten you out. And the ceremony is also a big thing. People are very intrigued by the Italian mob, because it's has a lot of history behind it, how it was created and stuff like that. So people love talking about it, and they're just fascinated with the Italian mob, and they're fascinated with a guy like John Gotti, or a guy like Al Capone. They're fascinated with this shit. They really are, and it's something where these guys, they aren't good guys. In the neighborhood, they're very flamboyant. They have nice clothes. They have a big car. They have jewelry. They have a wad of cash in their pocket. They have authority. Some of them are handsome. Some of them are ugly. And they have reputations. They have reputations from when they were kids growing up. And they eventually get put around wise guys that watch them and raise them. And they become a wise guy too. That's what they want. That's the same thing what me and my friends wanted. So that's how the neighborhood is run. Gerard, PTSD never goes away for me, but I can manage my emotions. Now, absolutely, yeah, you manage your emotions, but the certain events that took place in my life, they're always going to affect me. So, sometimes they make me angry, and I think about a lot of events that took place, a lot of friends I lost. I had John Polio I lost. I had Georgie Adamo, Paulie Galino, Chestnut, Michael Marola, and the list goes on and on and on. And let me tell you something. In the neighborhood, there must be about, no exaggeration, there's a lot of murders that aren't solved. People got away with a lot of murders. Maybe some of those people did deserve to get killed, but there's a lot of those people that didn't deserve to get killed. There's a lot of innocent people in between that, that life that were just, caught up and at the wrong place at the wrong time. I lived at 2470 West First between X and Y. Love the bakery smell from Cuccio's on the corner. And Cuccio's is still there. Say across the street from Cuccio's, I think it's CVS or Rite Aid, one store. And then you got the Barn Bar across the street from Cuccio's. But yeah, Cuccio's is all right. Every so often I go in there for a cup of coffee when I'm in the neighborhood. But the best bakery in Brooklyn is Velabate. That's the best bakery on 18th Avenue, for sure. But Cuccio's is still there. Let's see, Jimmy, do you sleep well at all? It must be hard with all the issues you had to deal with. You know what? I sleep okay. Sometimes, I maybe get 5 to 6 hours of rest a day. I always have something going on up here. I'm always thinking back. Of course, you got to think about today. You got to think about the future. But there's a lot of memories that go back. I'm always thinking about events that took place. Things that I was involved in. I did a lot of prison time, and a lot of things bother me. I guess maybe if it didn't bother me, it wouldn't be, I guess right. Eastie kid, Jimmy, in the neighborhood, were there some kids that stayed straight, like sports or school? Can you talk about some of them? No, you know what? In the neighborhood, there was a lot of kids that stayed straight and stayed in school. I don't want to mention their names, but yes, there was. There was these kids, they would hang out with us every so often, but right now they have families, they have good jobs, and they went the right way in life. They would hang out with us, but at the end of the day, when we got caught up in certain things, they were not a part of our crew because they didn't have the balls at that time. They didn't want to be involved with the wise guys on the street. But growing up, listen, you have a lot of good people in that neighborhood, uh, a lot of good kids in that neighborhood, and some of them survived and went on their way to be successful, to have families. But my group of friends, you know, it was carved in stone. We were destined to go to prison. Uh, some of us had to get murdered, and it's just how the life was. It's a terrible way to grow up in the street and want to follow a path of street guys because there's no future in it. There's no pension in it. There's nothing good that's going to come out of it. John C. Jimmy, you're driving through Brooklyn and can only stop at one place for lunch. Where do you go? If I go to Brooklyn, every so often I stop at Joe's of Avenue U. Joe's of Avenue U is a nice spot to eat. Then you got Leone's on 15th Avenue and 70-something Street. You got a couple places in Red Hook. You got L&B Pizzeria. You can stop over there. You could pass by 18th Avenue. 18th Avenue has a lot of nice pizzerias. But, Brooklyn, you have Europa on 20th Avenue, 65th Street. One thing about Brooklyn, pizza is great. If you got a good sandwich deli place to go to, you got John's Deli on 86th Street and Stillwell Avenue. Then you got one on Bay 50th and McDonald Avenue. But that's what's so good about Brooklyn or New York. You have all these delis. Yeah, Leone's is a good spot. I mean, Leone's has all the sandwiches there. Everything's fresh. And you could go to Villa Bate too on 18th Avenue, and they got every day they make these fresh rice balls and these fresh little pizzas. You walk in there, I'm telling you, they're delicious. This stuff is delicious, and I love these rice balls. They really are so good. But let's see. Mark McLaughlin, keep it up, Jimmy, Pittsburgh. Shout out to Pittsburgh. Hopefully I see you guys soon. I love Pittsburgh. PGM Justice, working like a horse, my man. PJM Justice, you want to come on? Let me know if you want to come on. Drop a link. Don Berlin, everyone hearing you, Jimmy, is listening to your share. And with each share, pieces of PTSD will fall away. Just takes time. Don, and also what I wanted to say was, I for this Sunday, I know this Sunday's Mother's Day. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a show Sunday, but what I wanted to do is, a couple of people sent me emails. Actually, Don Berlin sent me an email, and on Sundays, what I want to do is I want to start doing like outrage of the week. Like what's the biggest outrage that went on in your life or maybe in the news, and we could talk about it. Something that is pretty like it could be political, it could be sports, it could be crime, even something that went on in your personal life. What do you consider the most outrageous thing you heard or witnessed or suffered in the coming week? Stuff like that. And I don't call this YouTube or MobTube. I call this Looney Tube, because there's a lot of people on here that are pretty loony. And Looney Tube could be a cesspool, because these are things. For instance, everyone hides behind a computer, and you have a lot of trolls. My page and my audience is a lot different than a lot of other audiences. And I like that, because when I come on my channel, what I want to do is I want to give you content that you like. I want to talk to the people. I want the people to come on and talk to me. And, I like to interview some people. I like to tell stories. And that's what makes it good for me. Let me drop a link for PJM Justice, and we'll talk to him for a minute. But Gerard, I see you. You know, and there's a lot of you people that I got to know. You know, I didn't know any of you people before, like PGM Justice, that's gonna come on. I sat down with him. I had lunch with him in Atlantic City. Gerard is a friend of mine. Joey D is a friend of mine. Eddie G is a friend of mine. I met a lot of you people on YouTube. And that's what it's all about. It's all about networking with each other. And as you know, I don't come on my channel. I don't want to slander people. I don't smear people's names. What I want to do is I want to come on here. I want to give you a story, talk to you people. I want you people to talk to me, and we share stories of life, experiences in life. Salvatore Big Pussy, exactly, Jimmy. Many telephone tough guys who never look up. And your eyes in person, they're cowards. Salvatore Big Pussy. If that's really you, Salvatore, you should come on. I would love to have you on. I mean, I dropped the link, Salvatore. If that's really you, come on. PGM Justice, give me 1 minute. Let me just drop this link and see if that's really Salvatore. Maybe he does want to come on. But Salvatore Big Pussy, if that's really you, you know what? Come on. I'd love to have you on here for sure. What's up? What's up, pal? How's everything?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
How you making out?
Man, I've been busy working, but this whole thing with the mob rat, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I really don't want to talk about him. I'm saying, I don't want to talk about that guy. What do you call him? Nicholas Cal Lacone.
Yeah, I saw a couple things. I haven't really heard. I haven't been on, so
yeah, because
doesn't surprise me,
Yeah, because when I come on here, I want to talk to the people in the audience and tell stories and talk about current events.
I got you.
Stuff like that. Because of all that other nonsense. In all honesty, it's a bunch of nonsense, and we'll have to deal with that one way or another. Through certain channels.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. I can dig it.
Which I think I had this conversation with you before.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got Big Pussy in the chat?
I'm not sure. It might be him. It might be him. We talk shit to our friends in their presence and talk good about them when they are away. So I don't know if that's him. I don't know.
Hey, who knows? It could be a troll,
Yeah, it might be a troll. Who knows? This is just a profile. I'm not Sal. Okay. It's just a profile picture. He's not Sal.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so what are you up to tonight? Friday night? What are you up to?
Going out, man. I'm going to South Street. You ever been to South Street?
Philadelphia?
Yeah, bars and hoochies, man.
You know what? I had my friend Paulie that used to be a chef. He was on what's that guy's show? Gordon.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. They got I think he's got he has actually a restaurant in the casino in Philly.
Yeah. But my friend Paulie Gigante, rest his soul, what happened was he used to run a restaurant on South Street, and I used to go down there every so often. And he was doing drugs here and there. He was a young kid, maybe 30 years old. I had a couple years on him, and he ends up overdosing. Somebody gave him some bad shit. This is a couple years ago, but I used to go to South Street all the time. And it's always jamming out there.
Yeah, man. It's
But the thing,
Philly's changed a lot.
Yeah, but I'll tell you. But the thing about Philly too, you know what? I went to Philly maybe a month ago with my friend Eddie, and we went down there to have some Philly cheesesteaks. And every corner I went to in Philadelphia, everyone asked me for $1. Seriously. I'm telling you, look, I'm not even exaggerating. Every corner, there might have been more than.
Fortunate, man. It's sad. You know?
It's sad. And look, you know Philadelphia better than me. I mean,
Man.
I love Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a tough city, but you know, there's a lot of homeless people walking around all over the place.
There is, man. There's a couple. They got some people that drive through like Kensington. Bro, it's unbelievable. For your viewers, if you've never seen the videos of Kensington, type in Kensington drive by or say it's amazing, man. It's like The Walking Dead.
And you know what? I seen that, and it's a look. It's just it boggles my mind that
It's like
people,
spooky.
well, it boggles my mind that people would even want to feel that way. How they feel. I'm saying like they got their heads down. I don't get it. I really don't. Like how high do you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, look, I had it in my past, man. I was hooked on I've always had problems with like opiate pills, you know. It's crazy the way it grabs you, man. So I've never done heroin or fentanyl, but I can imagine that probably times 20. But that's the big thing, fentanyl, man. I know for a fact it's in everything. They got fake Xanny bars with fentanyl, Coke with fentanyl. You
Isn't
can't.
that but isn't that something? Look, you take you take a Xanny bar and it has fentanyl in it.
They look,
Can't that kill you?
it does kill people. It
That's what,
does.
that's what I'm talking about. Like that's some scary shit right there.
Very scary, man. Listen, that's honestly, you can't even buy it. I mean, back in the day, you know, you had that group of people that, you know, might buy like a Percocet, eat a Percocet one night. You can't, even that is you're playing with your life, man. It's Russian roulette, you know, it's unbelievable. I mean, I've heard heroin, and I know this because I have clients from Philly, lots of them. And, you know, we don't get like peaches and cream, if you know what I mean. Like, um, and you know, I become friendly with some of the clients, and I know a lot of people that live in Philly. And I mean, for the drug addicts, even you can't find actual like brown heroin in Philadelphia anymore. Um, Not that I would know. I've never even done heroin, but I do know that you can't find it, and it's fentanyl mixed with what do they call it? There's like another drug that they mix in too. Like it's makes you like real sleepy. So the people, they look like the Walking Dead. They're sleeping on this. You fall asleep standing up.
You know, and you know what? You see these videos of people on drugs, and then you have these addicts that are experiencing drugs, and what they're doing is they're doing documents of themselves, and they're telling you the story of how they got addicted, how they live, what they had, and where they are today. You know, but I tell you, it's a sad story, and you know, I never ever took a painkiller in my life. I never did. I was never into painkillers. I was never, and I was never into heroin. I was never into none of that shit. Maybe smoke a joint every so often. Back in the day when I was a kid, I did some cocaine with some wise guys and some of my friends, and I got stories I could tell with that, how it get you paranoid and shit like that. But I never fucked with any of that heavy shit. And today, back in the day, people did drugs and they lived. You heard every so often of someone overdose, and today everybody's overdosing.
It's unbelievable, brother. It's an epidemic, you know. I mean, it's because the fentanyl is so cheap. You know, you get kilos of it for nothing. So I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and it gets you hooked so quick. So, I mean, if you're this is here's a funny story. These guys I went to high school with, and this is recent too. They were selling Percocet pills, the ones without. So you got like the Percocets that have the Tylenol on it. They call them bananas, right? Perc 10s. Well, they got like the Perc 30s that are like they call them Roxy's or whatever. They're the ones really that the fentanyl goes into. And these guys I went to school with, they had really good lookalikes because it was a new Percocet pill that was manufactured down south, and it hadn't hit the Philadelphia area. So nobody knew what the original looked like or felt like when it crumbled up. So they came in with them and they blew up, sold these fucking pills. But the really evil thing about it is they would joke around like, if you're doing real Percocets, if you do one of theirs, when you get hooked on their perks with the fentanyl, now you think the real Percocets are the fake ones. Fucking crazy, man.
I tell you, it's insane how they create this and they make these drugs.
You get hooked. That's the point. Once you get hooked, it doesn't matter. Even if you told them you're on fentanyl, they don't care. I mean, the sickness is so bad, and they'll kill, steal, do whatever they gotta do to get this shit, man.
Yeah. Let me see what Mike Quanos. Let me see what he wants to. What's up, buddy?
What's going on,
Mike.
Jim? Mike Quinones. So,
Mike Quinones.
yeah, before, but just was wondering if when you're gonna do a segment on Albie and his brother got smoked here back in the day. You mentioned him a few times. I have hearing him when I used to down to Brooklyn back in the day, like on 2nd Street and 86th Street back in the day. I remember hearing stories about them from some of the old timers over there.
Say it again. Who?
Yeah, Albie and his brother. The
oh
two
yeah,
guys.
Pat and Albie. Yeah, you know what? I told a couple of stories about Pat and Albie. Pat and Albie growing up, I tell you, they were two wild kids. There you go, another two brothers that were murdered in the neighborhood. They were good-looking kids. They saw their father get murdered, and eventually, they killed Pat, and then they killed Albie on 20th Avenue and 86th Street. But I'll probably do another story on them. And I know the sister Joanne, she just passed away maybe 3-4 years ago of drugs. But that's another story, just like the story I was talking about, these other two 19-year-old kids, two brothers that were wild. And that's how the neighborhood is. Are you from the neighborhood?
No, I'm well, I grew, I was born at a Long Island College Hospital, and then with small kid, I moved to Staten Island, and then Springfield. Knew a lot of those Springfield guys and whatnot.
I mean Springfield.
Yeah, I knew some of those dudes, and I lived in Porridge with some of the wise guys that were connected with the Banana. I'm not names, but some of them are still actually active and whatnot. But and so the other thing is, if you were ever do a story about, I don't know if you saw that movie Gone in Seconds, and I guess it was, who the hell was it? I don't know if you remember Love. She used to go out with Chris Paciello back in the day, and that had back then. Let me say you did a little.
I know who you're talking about.
So did you know anything about the calling card theft ring that was going on back at that time?
Yeah, the kids from Staten Island, they were they were known for I think the crew was the Untouchables. Right, the Untouchables. And that kid that Love used to go out with, he was murdered. Okay, he was the original leader. I think his name was Ray. Am I correct?
I don't remember, but I know she was back in the day.
And that was Chris's friend. That was Ali's friend, and he was like the leader of that crew, the Untouchables. Eventually, he gets murdered, and everyone eventually look. When you start murdering people in the neighborhood, whether it's Staten Island, Brooklyn, there's always a wise guy around that you run to, and the wise guy's telling what. Okay, stay over here. Guys start pulling you. When your friends start getting murdered in the neighborhood, other guys start pulling you. And some kids end up with another crew. You end up with another crew, and that's how the neighborhood works.
Right. Just one last little question. I remember you saying you had gotten locked up. I don't know if it was in Rikers. Ran into Joe Benanton and apologized. Said, "Look, I'm sorry you're in here." What was the contents of that little conversation?
That what happened was when I got, when I first came home, I could go through this again. I wanted to get away from my friends. I'm saying because I know my friends killed OJ. Now all my friends got picked up maybe June or July. I got picked up in October. And I saw Joe Benanti before that on the street, had a couple conversations with him. And Joe Benanti was he was a funny guy, smoked a lot of pot, walked up and down the avenue and things like that. And he always had short conversations, they weren't long conversations. But when I saw him in prison, I was on a floor higher than him. He was below me, and we used to talk through the cages. And he told me, he said, Jimmy, he says, I'm sorry you're in here. I said, Joe, I said, don't worry. I said, it's fine. He said, you just came home and now you're back in here. I said, Joe, I said, what could you do? Saying, but at the end of the day, look, these guys don't care about nobody. I mean, Joe Benanti definitely had Paulie G killed. He saw green eyes. Paulie G, was a man's man, and he couldn't get over on Paulie G, so he had to take Paulie G out of the picture. And sooner or later, I think Paulie G was going to take Joe Benanti as Sparrow out of the picture, But these are stories that I'll always keep on talking about. I'll keep on repeating because they affect me one way. And these are guys that was around when I was a kid. But your speaker keeps on coming in and out.
I'm sorry about that. So one last thing, I'll get you out of there. I'm sorry. So I think I had asked you about this before. I heard you always saying that Paul, you trusted. He went to the door. As street smart as he was, and trusting as he was, how the hell did he not see that shit coming? That these two coming together to his house weren't going to take him. I mean, I just, I've always been. That's kind of
going to be in that.
Well,
What's
you know
that?
what? I'm gonna tell you. Look, you know what? At that time, listen.
Gives me chills every time I hear it, man.
Look. These kids put Paulie G to sleep. Okay, it's like, Paulie G had to answer the door to somebody. He had to trust somebody. And these two kids that were his friends he grew up with. I mean, look, you could answer the door with a pistol and be ready, or you could just answer the door. I mean, and the thing is, when you never think you're gonna get killed because you're killing people in the street, and you don't think it's gonna happen to you. The same thing with Joe Pizza, Louis Tuzio, other guys in the neighborhood that were tough guys, But it's something where you can't even answer that question because in that life, when they call you in, eventually you have to, answer their call. I mean, you have to come in, and you have to trust somebody. That's one thing about that life. You have to trust somebody, And you're thinking that. Look at Caesar. Okay, look at the guy Caesar that was supposed to protect Carmine Galante. I just spoke about this a couple videos ago. The guy Caesar was a Mad Hatter. Eventually, they called Caesar in and they killed Caesar. So you know what? You have to trust somebody in that life. That's what it's all about. That's why it's so easy to get killed because the people you trust are your friends, and those are the people that are going to kill you.
Yeah, man. I hear you. He definitely got rocked to sleep on that one. Unfortunately, rest in peace. I just wonder, and I think they probably took advantage of the fact that you were locked up, so maybe he didn't have access to you. What do you think? But you think he would have asked you, or is it just kind of like, hey, I don't know. I just wonder what was the crack in the door, literally, of how they were able to get in there without him thinking there's something not right about the situation.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't know, but looking back, it was just how they killed him was they killed him in his kitchen for his mother and father to come home. I mean, I think they could have did something a little different. And look, you know what? You live by the gun, you die by the gun. I understand that, and it's just a sad thing looking back because experiencing all this treachery, jail time, losing friends, it affected me in some way.
Right. Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. I've always been curious
Okay.
about that. I've always had a little bit of a sixth sense. That's why I'm still alive myself. And I guess just it was meant that way. It was just meant for him to go out like that. Unfortunately, I just hate to see dudes that young, for that shit to happen to him. But I guess it was his destiny, man, to go out like.
And you know what? Look, that's how the neighborhood is. All these kids, they want to become gangsters. They want to be a wise guy. I mean, they want to get respected. But the thing is, they don't know the other side of that life. For example, look at John Gotti. He died in prison. And look at these guys today. I mean, you want to be a wise guy. You want to kill people. Where are you? You're sitting in a prison cell. Okay? You're leaving your family behind. That's the end of the story. I'm saying that's just the end of the story. When you want to live that life and you want to kill people and eventually that's the other side of it. Sitting in a prison cell for the rest of your life. It's a sad story, but you know what? That's the ending of that story. It's prison or death. You there?
Right. Nah, I
I'm
hear
here.
you. And like another story you told kind of similar. You were in a situation and I guess you got sent for or whatever, and you went into a house and you heard it's like a creak in wood or whatever, and then got the you were able to kind of sense that something ain't right. And, it wasn't
Yeah.
right.
Well, at that the incident you're talking about is this guy Charlie called me and we just did a double homicide maybe a couple of weeks before. And this guy Charlie calls me. So all of a sudden, he wants to talk to me out of nowhere. He calls me, and then I called Tommy Reynolds, and Tommy Reynolds said, "Jimmy, don't trust him. Call Paulie. Go with Paulie." But as soon as I got there, I knew something was fishy. Something was up. And then I walk up to the screen door, and he's sitting in his living room on the sofa. He don't even get up to come to the door. So when I open up the door, I hear a creak. Someone's behind a wall. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. And I jetted. I went straight to my car. And then I went to the corner. Joe Benanti was there with Paulie G. I told him what happened. Who pulls up 5 minutes later? Georgie Conti. So I knew, you know what? If I walk in that apartment, that house, I'm probably never going to be seen again. I mean, because they would have just, as soon as I would have walked in the house, they might have just put a bullet in my head. And you know what? I would have been history. Because that's how those guys were. They were serious guys, But listen, Mike, I want you to go because you got your speaker coming in.
Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you something.
Hey, Mike, I'll see you soon, okay? Yeah, it's just too much with the speaker thing, I'm not into the speaker thing.
Yeah, I think for me at least, the volume when he got on was making funny sounds.
But this is number one, Cousine. Jimmy couldn't have stopped it. If he tried, he would have went too. And you know what? That's true. If I was there, I would have went too. And that's just the way that life is. When someone has to go, they have to go. And even if a girl was in that apartment with Paulie G at that time, the girl would have went too. That's just the way it would have went down. Because these kids had a mission. Tommy and Paulie had a mission, and their mission was Paulie G has to go. So whoever was with Paulie G that time, they would have went also, absolutely. And no matter if you know somebody all your life, you know what, that means nothing. You could be someone's friend all your life. It means nothing. So friendship in the mob means nothing.
Some scary shit, bro.
Yep, absolutely. But a friendship in the mob means nothing.
I had to deal with shit like that, man.
Yep, absolutely. It's all treachery. It's a backstabbing. And, it's a garbage pail life. I don't care what anybody says. I don't glorify that life. You know what? This is the stand I'm on.
Thought about that, man. The way you said about the mother, I never really thought about it like that. That's like a whole nother level of disrespect, You could, if it's your best friend, you could have got him out of the house at the very least. I mean, that's pretty fucking low, man.
Absolutely. And then what happens is, since we're on this subject, we could talk about Paulie G's weight. Now, when Paulie G was murdered, what I did was, I found out, and I made him a big like thing. I did a poem, and I sent it out, and they displayed it in front of his casket and stuff like that. My family went to the wake. My brother John, and a couple kids from the neighborhood went, but none of Paulie G's friends went that were in his crew, and they knew right away where it came from because none of his friends from his crew went. So people saw that none of his friends were there, and that was a red flag. Where's Tommy? Where's Joey? Where's Fabrizio? Where's this one? Where's that one? I'm saying, where's Sparrow? He didn't come to give us respect. Where's Joe Benanti? He didn't come to give us respect. I'm saying, so everyone knew. The only thing that was sad about that is, I'll tell you, not only Paulie G going, but it would have been nice to see Paulie G's father walk into Sparrow's club and shoot him right in the fucking head with a shotgun. I'm saying that would have been a nice thing,
Yeah, real nice, yeah.
God forbid anything happens to someone I love. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, man, that's all some sucker shit, man.
Absolutely, sucker shit.
Thank God I didn't live in that area, but I get how you're kind of embedded there. Like that's where you're at.
Absolutely, but the thing is, look, you know what? There's a flip side to the coin. Paulie G was a murderer, and you know what? In that life, listen, you kill, you're gonna be killed. And in that life, you kill, you're gonna go to jail for life. So you know what? These are things you have to understand. Whether it's your father going to jail, whether it's your friend, whether it's your brother, you choose that life. You know what? Eventually, you're gonna get killed, or you're going to jail. But it's a sad life. It's not a nice life. I mean, years ago, maybe when the mafia first started, you had honor in it, you had the respect. And there was rules that couldn't be broken. Now all the rules are broken. There ain't no honor in it. It's all a bunch of bullshit, And there's no respect. I'm saying guys don't respect each other. Guys actually hate each other. Even when I was in prison, all the wise guys from different families fucking hated each other. We all talk bad about each other. This one don't like that one. That one don't like this one. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
Thank God you're out, man.
Absolutely. Eugene, Jimmy, don't you think Calco had to kill Paulie because if he refused, we would have got it? Well, you know what? I don't think he had to refuse. I mean, I think he could have gave Paulie a heads up, and they all could have got out of there. Or they could have grabbed a couple shotguns, went after Sparrow, went after Joe Benanti, and then you know what? Then they could have took off. I mean, they were making $10,000 a week. They could have lived off that $50, $40,000 a month. I'm saying, but that's not what happened. So it is what it is. That's all carved in concrete. That's history, and you know what? Life goes on.
50 years.
Yep. But let me read a couple of these comments over here. Thank God you were smart enough to get out of the life, Jimmy. God bless. Yes, Justin Calderon, absolutely. They call people rats, then betray their friend. Really? Is that honor to what? A debt cult and lust for money? Fuck that. But that's the thing. So
insanity.
So this is the thing. They call people rats, but they betray their own friend. Saying so the thing is, what's the difference of killing Paulie G, murdering Paulie G, or me testifying against Anthony Sparrow? What's the difference?
It's betrayal. Either way,
Either way, it's fucking betrayal, right? So the thing is, it's like, you know what? And the thing is, you gotta remember something. And I want to talk about this. I mean, because this is maybe a good conversation because you're on here, okay? Now they have this thing called, we push back, okay? And I'm going to shine light to this. I'm going to shine a lot of light to this, and hopefully the government gets involved because I'm the guy that I'm not going to take bullshit from anybody out there. I'm saying I'm that guy. I'm not the guy to take bullshit from nobody. Okay, that's where I am in my life, and we push back is an organization or a group. This guy, Dominic Crea, put together where his father was a Boston Lucchese family, and he comes on YouTube and he creates We Push Back. And he says this thing that all informants are liars. Now, that's a bunch of bullshit, okay? Because all people who cooperate with the government are not liars, okay?
Not many people follow him. He's ridiculous.
Well, let me just finish. So he says that all people who cooperate are liars. Now, he says that because someone cooperated on his father and put his father away, okay? Now, not everyone who cooperates is liars. Is Gas Pipe a liar? Yes. I mean, he got caught lying. Now, you have to sign, this is what I signed. I signed 0 to life. Now, if I got caught in a lie, the government could throw away the key and I'm done. I'm saying? And maybe someday I'll get Jim Walden on here because that was my prosecutor and I signed my agreement with him. And just like I told him, I said, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you and I'm not going to lie for you. Okay? I'm going to tell you about what I was involved in and that's what I did. Okay? But I just want to say, look, I took the path of, you know what, to get out of that life. I don't want nothing to do with it anymore. And that was my opportunity to get out of there. You know, there was a lot of events that took place. Some events I was very ashamed of. And thank God I made the right decision.
Listen, man, I'll say it and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, bro. I don't care who you are. Me personally, I wouldn't believe you. If you told, I don't care who you are, we push back any of them. If you're in the position that you were in, they're doing the same thing, bro. I bet you left up on it, man. I'm telling you, because I mean, just the way that you were betrayed, bro, by adults as, you know, young men is disgusting, bro. Like, and anybody that stands up for murdering people, that's why the guy's so ridiculous. We push back. Like, it's like our whole criminal justice system relies on the system, informants. That's where it comes from. Everything.
And this is the thing. You know what?
Everyone that walks into our law firm, bro, the first thing they want to do is cooperate, bro. People that you would not expect, man. I've seen the most gangsters looking people that just, it's every one of them. It's like, you know, they're going to do it. They want to deal. And people just talk shit, man, you know, and that's not the thing. Like I'm also firm to the fact that I know that you were literally forced into the your situation is very unique and different from most people.
Of course, absolutely. And everyone has a different story, a different situation. My situation was, listen, I kept my mouth shut.
Betrayal, man.
For 6 years, I kept my mouth shut when I was doing prison time. Came home 11 months. Right away, guys are rolling on me. But you know what? I'm not going to justify it. I did what I did, and I stand on it. I'm a grown man. Listen, I don't give a fuck about none of these people out there. And that's the difference where I understand, you know what? Sometimes people suck. Okay? They really do. Sometimes people suck. And you know, you have to make the best decision for you sometimes. And that's what I did. And you know, like I said, these people were not nice people.
Going back to that life either, Jimmy. That's the thing. Like, you're not perfect. You know, like you said, you know, you had some bumps in the road, but
the thing is, I never took an oath to that life. That's the thing. I never ever took an oath to that life. And I never took an oath to no organization.
Well, you change what I mean. The really despicable shit is kind of like what, you know, people that do what you did or what Sammy did, and then you go back on the street and keep just, you know, being like an evil human being. Like, there's change, right? As a young man, like you can change in life, and that's a big part of your story, Jimmy. Why I would tell you, like, you know, I know you like to try to help people. You like to help people, and that's just because you're a good person. But you know, it goes to show you that you can change in life. You know, it's never really the end of the road. You could change, and you know, you've had your bumps, but you're a good person. You've gone through life as a father and a good person. You went from being like an evil person and around evil to, you know, being a good person. So that's like a crazy story, man.
Yeah, Pazzo, Jimmy, don't you think Paulie G thought that Benanti was thinking about that 40,000 a month? Of course he was. He had green eyes. He was the wise guy. He was straightened out. Paulie G was looking for a button. Now, if Paulie G would have got straightened out, I mean, Joe Benanti probably would have had nothing. He wouldn't have had a crew or nothing. I'm saying, so you know what? And that's what they do. What they do is they betray you. So you know what? Take Paulie G out of the picture. And you know what? Now all these guys are around him. So that's how that life is.
Now, Jimmy, you got like half a mohawk, man. What happened? You look like you rolled out of bed.
Yeah, you know what? I just leave my hair sometimes. Like I wake up sometimes, I leave it, I go out, I throw a hat on. Look, when I gotta look pretty, I look pretty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, do your thing, buddy. Look, Jimmy, I gotta head out, man. I gotta drive to Philly. It's like a half an hour drive, man.
Well, listen, hey, have a good time. Stay safe.
No, I got your back, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Of course, absolutely.
All right, stay in touch.
Yeah, stay in touch and listen, stay safe and have a good time.
All right, brother.
Don't drink and drive. He's a good guy, PJM. So, okay. Let's see. The fact you changed and went legit speaks volumes. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks about your choices. It's easy for others to speak their opinion when not in your shoes. Well, you know what? That's the thing. I really don't care about what other people think. I'm my own man. I think for myself. I have my own brain. And, I speak my own narrative. I don't listen to other people. Tato, Neil S. He always wondered if he was going to get killed. Carmine S. Jimmy, you had a second chance in life. You changed your life and have a beautiful family. Thank God. Amen. Jim, if you were made, do you think your life would have taken a different turn? Of course, absolutely. If I was made, I would have destroyed my whole life. Kidding me? I would have been in and out of jail. I probably would have spent the rest of my life in prison anyway. So, look, I made the best decision, and thank God. You know what? I don't regret it. Kidding me? Because I'm thinking about me and the people who love me always. And that's what you have to think. Think about you and the people who love you. Have a great night, guys. No bad avenue and driving. Brad R. Change is good. It's none of my business what other people think about me. Absolutely. So, real shooters, they'll sit in jail for me. Is that Tony, Prince of the City? Amen, Boston J. Roberto, my bro, I refuse to speak about it. My positivity is focused on where it should be. There you go, Boston J. You're a good person. You're a real person. Don't ever change. Okay. I will listen. The story I was talking about, before PJM came on, was John Polio. Now, John Polio was a good kid. He's one of my first friends who was murdered. He was murdered at the age of 19 years old, like these two other kids that were murdered in 2000. Okay, these two brothers. Now, John Polio, he had three sisters. He didn't have no brothers. He came from a good family. He didn't grow up on Bath Avenue. And there was a lot of guys that didn't like him. One was Frankie Mariconda. Frankie Mariconda never liked him. Bobby DeChico never liked him. So, when you start having guys in the neighborhood, for example, Bobby DeChico's father was George DeChico. He was a wise guy, a captain of the Gambino family. And George DeChico was a decent guy in the neighborhood, but Bobby DeChico at the time he wasn't, because this is a guy that we were friendly with at one time. Then he had some other kids come in the neighborhood. He didn't care for us no more, and we started beefing with him. John Polio had some words maybe with him. disrespected him, disrespected some other guys, and eventually your friend sets you up. Your friend sets you up. At this time, he's doing things for Georgie Conti, and he gets in a car. They take him for a ride, and that's it. He never goes home. They kill him. And this is how easy it is to get killed. You know what I'm saying? You get in the car, and someone you think that is your friend is the guy who's going to kill you. So, that was in 1988. And in all honesty, it seems like it was yesterday. But these are the things that really bother me in life, thinking about these things. Jimmy, back in the days, who was a fan of Hulk Hogan or Macho Man? Wow, that's, that is good right there. A fan of Macho Man, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan. But back in the day, listen, I used to love to watch wrestling. Okay, my favorite wrestler till today is what's his name? The guy with the makeup on, and he was huge. He would go, ah! But I forgot his name. But Macho Man Randy Savage, I used to love him when he used to walk in with his wife. Hulk Hogan, I liked him a little. I remember Bob Backlund. If you remember Bob Backlund back in the day, you had Andre the Giant, Jimmy Fly Snooker. But those guys were the best. And the entertainment those guys put on were awesome, man. Looking back, I used to love watching wrestling back then. Definitely had a lot of fun. And even Howard Stern, watching Howard Stern back in the day. I mean, he used to be on TV before he even hit cable. He was on TV like 11 o'clock at night, and he had all the crazy people on there, and that was entertainment. Now today, the entertainment is, let's go on Looney Tube, YouTube, and let's look at everyone else's lives. And that's what's going on today. Well, guys, we got 215 people in the chat. I really appreciate you all coming out today. I'm glad I decided to come on, spend a little time with you people. Like I said, you could always email me. Anybody ever want to come on, you want to tell a story or something that went on in your life, this is the platform to tell it on. I have a few guests coming. I have this rapper kid coming on. I think his name is Kashmir. He has a story to tell. He has a record dropping soon. So I'm going to give him a platform. I'm going to interview him. Maybe he could sell some records and stuff like that. And you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help other people any way I can. If you got a story to tell, come on here. Jerry Springer too, Pazzo. Pazzo says Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer was crazy back in the day. How about the other guy? I forgot his name. I forgot his name, but he used to smoke all the time. And he had the skinheads that went crazy and they fought on the show. I forgot his name. Maybe somebody out there knows. Edwin, my uncle Edwin. What's up, Edwin? Don't leave, clan. Just stay until 3 in the morning. Edwin, tell me it's not funny. These people doing channels. I mean, they're on to 3 in the morning. It's crazy. 6 hours, 3 hours. I mean, it's insane. I mean, listen, I think anything over 2 hours is too much. Pazzo, that's it, Jimmy. But Edwin, I'll tell you, you really are funny. Because, Edwin, he emails me maybe 5:30 in the morning. He sends me a message. He's pretty funny. He's pretty comical. And he makes comments like, YouTube will never love you back and stuff like that. But he's a funny guy, I tell you. NYPD never able to solve these homicides. Well, in order to solve these homicides, you probably need DNA evidence. You probably need a witness, things like that. There you go, Cousine. You got it. Morton Downey Jr. That's it. That's why I was thinking about Morton Downey Jr. And that show was pretty good too. Morton Downey Jr. used to smoke the cigarettes as he's walking in the audience with people. Now today you can't even smoke a cigarette in a building. How things changed. Justin Calderon, Jimmy, I'm a commercial truck driver. I drive 500 miles a day. Your videos help get me through my day. Thank you. You're welcome, Justin. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for showing up. Thank you for your support. It means a lot to me. Jimmy, too bad we never bumped heads in Canarsie or Pastels. We definitely would have hit a couple of banks. Yeah, well, I hit a lot of them, those banks. And the thing is, you know what? Nobody, if you were to rob a bank today or did a night deposit box, there is no money in the night deposit box anymore. All the night deposit boxes, they're all receipts. Everything is a credit card today. The little cash you'll find, it'll be nothing. Everyone's using credit cards, debit cards, Apple Pay, and that's how people pay today. Nobody really uses cash. See me, I like to have cash on me. I'm an old school guy. I like to flip a bill, pay with cash. You know what I mean? If I'm in a restaurant, yeah, I'll use a credit card. But, I like to use cash too. Jimmy, you posted a pic on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. The guy looked like Mean Gene Oakland wearing your Beth Avenue merch. Yeah, that's another one, Mean Gene. Pro wrestling has always been associated with painkillers and steroids. Yes, absolutely. These guys get a lot of injuries and need the pills just to get through the next night's match. Oh, these guys are some athletes, professional wrestlers. I mean, just doing what they're doing, jumping off of ropes, hurting themselves, and then they cut themselves to make it look real. It's insane what they do, But you got to be in great shape to do something like that. How about Mickey Rourke when he played in The Wrestler? I mean, Mickey Rourke, for an actor, he's a tough guy too. I know he's a little shot, but just to play that role as a wrestler, that was pretty, intense. Well, guys, I'm on here an hour and a half. I really appreciate you guys coming out and spending some time with me. Like I said, on Sunday, let's do outrage of the week. Something that went on the news, maybe a crime story or something that went on in your life, whatever it is. We could talk about it and, something like that, But I'm going to go, guys. It's, getting late past my bedtime. And, thanks for coming out. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everyone, for coming in the chat. Pazzo, thanks for showing up. Anthony Santoro, Neil S., Patrick Rogers, Tato, thank you. Tommy Rocco, what's up, Tommy? Boston J, Live and Let Live. Gary Monteleone, take care, Gary. Jennifer Ledette. And to all you people who showed up, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Until my next video, I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Good night.
The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.